I have to warn you that this recipe contains pork. If that upsets or offends you, then the answer is very simple. Dislike, unsubscribe and go away. Now there are as many versions of cassoulet as there are towns in France, and every town believes that their version of cassoulet is the true version of cassoulet, which of course is complete bollocks. However, if I'm going to do anything that's remotely controversial, you'll see this. And what that means is that somewhere some French people are going, "No! No!" There are other French people who are going, "C'est bien." But the vast majority of French people will be doing this. Buff. So let's make some cassoulet. So I'm starting with 500 grams of lignon blanc. These are small white dried beans, but any small dried white bean will do. However, don't use these. There's nothing wrong with them, just not for cassoulet. I'm going to add in a load of water, not just to cover them, but to make sure that there's enough room for them to suck up water and expand. And now I'll leave these overnight. The next day. As you can see, these beans are really swelled up, so I'm going to drain them. I've put the beans in a large pan with some water. I'm just going to bring it to the boil. Once it goes mental like this, turn the heat down and let it simmer for 10 minutes. Scoop-a-da-scum, 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 scoop-a-da-scum.
10 minutes later.
After 10 minutes, turn off the heat, drain again, clean the pan, put the beans back in, cover with water, bring back to the boil. When it comes to the boil, sprinkle in a teaspoon of salt, turn down the heat and now let it simmer for 45 minutes. Now let's talk about the meat. I've got 400 grams of pork shoulder cut into chunks, 400 grams of lamb cut into chunks, 2 duck legs and 400 grams of Toulouse sausage. Disappointing. Now Toulouse sausage has quite a high meat content. Where I live it's really hard to get Toulouse sausage, so I buy mine online, and I've put a link down below of the company that I get it from. They're not sponsoring me, I don't get a kickback, but you might find that helpful. I've also put a link down there for other things that you can use instead of Toulouse sausage. So the first thing I'm going to do is prick the sausages. Then I'll pop a tablespoon of duck fat into a pan, put it on a medium heat, pop in the sausages and cook them gently until they're browned. Sizzle, 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 sizzle. Oh look, sauce art!
15 minutes later.
Once the sausages have nicely browned, take them out of the pan and pop them on a plate. Now whack in the duck. Now a lot of recipes call for confit de canard, which is like a preserved duck. Now in the UK, if you can find preserved duck, you actually need a small mortgage to buy it. So I'm going to use just plain old duck. After 45 minutes, turn off the heat and leave to cool. That sizzling sound is the duck. Now once again, we're going to cook these until, well, they're cooked, but they're brown. 30 minutes later. Once the duck's nicely browned, remove from the pan. Come here, you little beggar. Come here. Pack it in. And pop it on a plate. Now add the pork. And cook until browned.
10 minutes later.
Sizzle, sizzle. Once the pork is cooked, remove it and pop it into a bowl. And finally add the lamb. And now we'll cook this until it's browned.
10 minutes later.
Once the lamb's browned, remove it from the pan and put it in with the pork. Now that the duck has cooled, I need to remove the meat from the bones. You will need to cut the meat off the bone, and it'll still be a little bit pink on the inside even after half an hour of cooking, but it'll finish cooking in the final cassoulet. Now pop the duck in the bowl with the lamb and the pork.
Yeah, can we have some meat? Oh, the camera's on. I don't want to be on the camera.
Mum, can we have some meat? Can we have some meat, please? I've poured most of the fat out of the meat pan, and I'm going to add in 1 onion finely chopped, together with 4 cloves of garlic finely chopped. And I'll cook for 3 or 4 minutes until the onion is softened. After 3 or 4 minutes, add in 5 chopped tomatoes. Now these tomatoes have been peeled, deseeded and then chopped. Mix this in and we'll cook this for another 2 to 3 minutes. This is a good time to add some seasoning, then add in the meat, then add in 300 ml of chicken stock and bring to the boil. Then when it comes to the boil, turn off the heat and we're ready to construct the cassoulet. So we've got the sausage that I've cut into thirds, the beans stewing in their own juices, and the rest of the meat. Now if you haven't already realised, you're going to need a large casserole for this. Mine's a 4-litre jobby. Using a slotted spoon, add about 1/4 of the beans, then spoon in about 1/3 of the meat mixture, together with 1/3 of the sausage. Add another 1/4 of beans, 1/3 of the meat mixture, and 1/3 of the sausage, 1/4 of the beans, remainder of the meat, the rest of the sausage, and the rest of the beans. Now pour on the juices from the meat pan and add enough of the bean juice just so you can see the liquid. There we go, perfect. Finally, pop in a bay leaf and a bouquet garni. Mine come in tea bag form. Lovely. Now this is going to go into the oven at 165 degrees C fan for 2 hours. It's a delicious, hearty, meaty, beany stew. Wonderful! It's a good job that cassoulet freezes well, because there's 3 meals worth there for us. Now this may not be the same version of cassoulet that you cook, or as the Spanish might say, mi cassoulet no es su cassoulet. See what I did there? But I think you'll enjoy this recipe all the same. Join me next time. Until then, au revoir!